Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start experiencing so many changes in this time of your life, whether it be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, or weight gain around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere, despite you not changing anything. So you go back to those tried and true methods of cutting calories, cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, yet nothing seems to be working. In fact, it feels like you're putting in all this effort and you're actually moving backwards. But we know now that your body is inherently different than what it was prior to you experiencing these hormonal changes. So our mission here at Vitality is to really help you understand how your body changes in this time of your life so you can reach those health and fitness goals, live a life full of vitality, feel in control and at home in your body again, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today, what I want to talk about is a very popular topic and something that almost everyone seems to struggle with, which is how do you avoid weight regain, right? We have all been there, where you lose the weight, yay, but then you gain it back again. And then you try another diet and it works, but not really as good as the first one, but you do lose some weight. So, okay, kind of a win, but then you gain it back again. And you move on to the next diet. And again, it just doesn't work as great. And you find you have to be way more restrictive, way lower calorie, do it for longer. And you lose some weight, but again, you gain it back again. And then somehow you get to this place where you just stop losing the weight, right? And you just start gaining. And you have no freaking idea what to do because realistically, what are you supposed to eat? Like 500 calories a day? Like that can't be healthy. That can't be good for you, right? Not to mention at this point, you're also tired, yet you still sleep like crap no matter how exhausted you are. You have energy crashes in the afternoon. You struggle with cravings. You're working out hard, but it doesn't look like it, right? Body isn't showing as hard as you're working. You are irritable. You might even start struggling with anxiety or depression, right? Your bowel movements are terrible. You're constipated. You're bloated. You're reactive. You're irritable. And you just want to give up. You are desperate. You feel hopeless and you have no idea what to do. So how do we lose weight and keep it off? Well, step number one is, if you're in that position that I just described, we need to actually heal your body to get it to a point where it'll actually start responding again, right? Because if we can't get your body to lose the weight now, there's no point in talking about how to maintain it and avoid weight regain because you're not even at that position yet, right? I did a whole podcast episode on this back on episode 70, which is the do's and don'ts of reverse dieting for menopause fat loss. Go back to that first if you're struggling to lose weight, because that will teach you how to get your body responding again, why you're in a position where your body isn't responding anymore, and how to really prime it for fat loss so that you can actually get into the fat loss stage, right? To get your body working again. So that's step number one. Go back to episode 70 if you haven't listened to that yet and you're in a point where your body isn't responding. But let's say, okay, you are in this position now where you did lose some weight. Yay! All your hard work is like paying off, right? Your commitment, your dedication, you should be so incredibly proud of yourself at this point, right? But unfortunately, the work does not stop here. Right? Now we actually have to do something to maintain this. So to lose weight, you do have to be in a calorie deficit for some amount of time, right? We usually discourage more than 12 weeks because that's where we start to see your metabolism start to slow down. Your body isn't as good at burning calories. And then eventually your diet calories, this low calorie state, end up being your maintenance calories. And we don't want to do that, right? Because eating low calorie sucks. And eventually it will bite you in the butt. And you'll start to experiencing some of those awesome hormonal side effects we always talk about, digestion issues, bloating, energy issues, sleep issues, and eventually weight gain without changing a ton of things, which is definitely not what we want. So we want to make sure that we are finding this fine line of being in a calorie deficit, going into fat loss, but not being there for so long and learning to cycle through it so that we don't have issues with hormones and metabolism down the road. So again, go back to episode 70 if you have not been able to figure that aspect out yet, because otherwise this podcast won't benefit you as much. So go back to episode 70. So back to maintaining. When you are in a low calorie state or finishing up a diet, your body is in an incredibly vulnerable state, like incredibly vulnerable. It is almost like you are a sponge. If you go back to quote unquote eating normally, your body is going to hold on to that. You're going to see some weight gain because your metabolism is going to slow down during a calorie deficit. Your body is doing that. It responds to the stimulus it receives from your body, right? And the external food intake and activity and all that kind of stuff, right? So you are going to see your metabolism slow down. That's how many calories your body burns at rest. Your total daily expenditure, so calories out in a day, is going to go down in a calorie deficit because your body's trying to preserve things. If it knows that you're getting less calories, it's doing things to try and preserve that because that's what our body is meant to do. It's meant to keep you alive. So you're going to find you'll fidget less and things like that. You will also have a lower thermic effect of food because if you are eating less food, our body isn't burning as many calories during digestion, right? You are also going to lose some fat, which is awesome, but you're probably going to lose some muscle mass as well. If you aren't working out during that in particular, you're probably going to lose a lot of muscle mass. Okay. And we know that the more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns at rest. So if we're losing some muscle, that's also going to bring down your metabolism. It's lowering the calories outside of the equation. We also know in a deficit or a fat loss phase, thyroid function is going to slow down. Again, it's that internal thermostat that determines how many calories your body burns at rest. So again, that's going to lower the calories outside of the equation. We're also going to see our cortisol go up. This is normal because a fat loss phase is a stress on your body. You are purposely trying to eat less than you are expending to facilitate fat loss, right? But we know with that, we're going to see reduced hormone production, which can influence our metabolism, how many calories we burn, right? It's going to influence our blood sugar control. So if we aren't learning how to eat properly, that's going to be a big issue. You're going to see some inflammation. You're going to see some changes to your gut health. So potentially some more bloating, inflammation there as well. Liver detox will take a little bit of a hit too. So your body is in a stress state during a deficit. Okay. It is vulnerable and it is in defense mode, but we have to do everything that we can to keep your body feeling safe, right? But you have to realize that in a fat loss phase, that is a stressful state and your body is very vulnerable, and anything that we just go back to quote unquote being normal, our body's going to hold on to because it's like we're a sponge. Okay. It is important to note that it does take time for your metabolism to slow down to the point of where your calorie intake is. And that difference is weight loss. So if you're watching this visually, this will help you more. If not, just try and visualize with me if you're just listening to my voice. But let's say we get your maintenance up to 2,000 calories. Okay. And we drop our calorie intake to, let's say, 1,700. We have a 300 calorie gap. That's going to result in weight loss, right? As long as we're still active and doing all those things. So it takes time. So over time, that becomes like a 200 calorie gap because your body's internal systems, everything I talked about, you're burning less calories, right? This is what happens when we're in a fat loss phase. So that top number, that 2,000 or maintenance, starts coming down, and now it's only a 200 calorie difference, and then a 100 calorie difference. And then boom, that 1,700 becomes our new maintenance, right? So you have to know that it takes time for that metabolism to come down. Okay, this is why we like to do it in cycles so we don't let it come down all the way, so that we can keep that metabolism high and then teach you how to come out of it properly so that we're not seeing you get stuck, right? That difference is where you see weight loss. So let's say you've been dieting for 12 weeks and you got down to, I don't know, let's just say 1,600 calories per se. And that's where you are at the very last couple weeks, and you're working out 4 days a week and you're making sure that you're getting X amount of steps, getting enough protein, all those things, right? So now we're at this bottom. But now here is where the big mistake is that no one has taught you because they want you to keep coming back and buying their programs. This is why Weight Watchers and all those things, quote unquote, work until they don't, because you're in it for so freaking long that now your maintenance is at that low calorie level, which for most of you, if you look at like Noom and things like that, your calorie intake is crazy, crazy, crazy low. So now you're at this low calorie state, okay? And so for lots of people, they're not stopping at 1,600 calories for their fat loss phase. They're dropping to 1,400, 1,200. Some women are at 1,000, right? And you're working out 2 to 4 days a week, prioritizing protein. You're prioritizing your whole foods. You're getting 10,000 steps a day. You're prioritizing self-care and a bedtime routine. And just like it took time for your metabolism to go from 2,000 down to this 1,200 or wherever you ended up going, it takes time for it to come back up. But we don't think of it this way. So you have a huge gap in the calories coming in versus the calories going out, which is weight gain, because you didn't have an exit plan and you didn't keep up with certain things. And so now your metabolism, it's not at 2,000 anymore. Your metabolism's down to like 1,200 when you go back to being quote unquote normal. And so now let's say even if you're going 1,800 calories, 1,200 to 1,800, that's a 600 calorie gap. So of course you're going to gain weight, right? And so I want to show you all these different things. It takes time for your metabolism to come back up with you. So for example, instead of eating 1,200 to 1,400 calories on whatever crazy diet that you were doing, and you meet your goal, and now you start eating at 1,800 to 2,000, right? That's a big mismatch between where your metabolism is, and which is how many calories your body burns, and how many calories you are consuming. And you also stopped working out, which means there's even less calories out. And you also stop prioritizing your protein. And we know that you burn 20 to 35% of calories consumed from protein during digestion versus 10 to 15% of calories consumed from carbs and fat, which means even less calories out. So let's say even if your calorie intake doesn't go up that much, but you decrease your protein a lot, you're decreasing calories out just by the type of food you're consuming. Okay, so that's even less calories out. And that also results in increased risk of blood sugar spikes and more cravings and more energy crashes if you're not getting enough protein, which doesn't exactly support maintaining our weight loss, right? And then you also stop prioritizing your steps, which is even less calories out. And you start eating a bunch of processed food and treats again, which are way easier to overeat and are less filling. And you burn less calories during digestion because they're so processed compared to those whole foods, right? And a lot of us just stop tracking. So again, that's a lot more calories in. And with less food, whole foods, you're also getting less nutrients, which means that you're not getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need for your body to function optimally. And that doesn't support your hormone health, right? So that's not very supportive of maintaining your weight loss either. And you also stop prioritizing your sleep and your recovery and stress management, which is going to cause an increase in cortisol, which it already is, right? Because we're in this low calorie state. So you're going to have even more cortisol, which is going to lead to more inflammation, more blood sugar issues, which again is not supportive of your maintaining your weight loss. So then you have this massive change in where your metabolism is. So you're at 1,200 calories and you've drastically lowered your activity. So now your calories out is even lower. You have ditched stress management. So cortisol goes up, making you more predisposed to gain weight and hold on to weight. You are eating more calories and more treats, which are more inflammatory. And again, increasing the calories inside all at the same time. So you perceive, oh, I didn't actually maybe increase my calories that much, but you did a lot of things that actually caused a bigger discrepancy between where your metabolism is and the total net balance, right? Because you stopped working out, less steps, less stress management, changes in whole foods. So now the calories in, calories out thing is a huge, huge distance. So of course you're going to gain that weight back. Of course. And then every single time you do this with every single diet that you've done, it gets worse and worse and worse because you keep doing harder diets. You're dieting for longer. It's more restrictive. The calories are lower. You're doing more and more exercise. And then you go back to normal, creating this even bigger gap, right? Because what happens is every time we do this, it's like your metabolism comes down, but you never did anything to bring it back up. You just went back to quote unquote normal. So then every time you're dinging the system, bring your metabolism lower and lower and lower. You're making it every single time you gain more weight each time you lose it. So then you're stuck in this cycle of like, I lose some, but gain more, lose some and gain more. And I don't understand what's happening. But it's because no one has taught you how to do this properly, which is why this industry like frustrates me sometimes because no one is teaching you these things. So this is why prioritizing your metabolic and hormone health first is so important. Understanding what these diets do to your body, how to actually diet properly, how to exit your diet properly is going to be key to your success. If you don't bring your metabolism back up first and focus on healing and getting your hormones to a better position so that you can lose weight and that we're not seeing our metabolism like get stuck at 1,000, like, and then being able to maintain that, like, it's crazy. Like, do you really think you want to work out 7 days a week, eating 1,200 calories, like doing what you're doing right now for the rest of your life and not see changes and just see things get worse? No, that's not what you want. That's not why you're here, right? So here is what we do with our clients so they can maintain their successful fat loss. I'm going to lay it all out for you. Step number 1, phase 1, is we restore their metabolism to make their bodies good at burning calories again. Okay, we do this through reverse dieting. Head to episode 70 for all the information because otherwise this podcast will literally be hours long because that one in itself I think was an hour. So you need to learn how to do this properly. So we're making sure we're bringing that metabolism down from that last diet you did, which was 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories, whatever crazy thing you did, and bringing it back up. Okay, we're setting it for success. Then we can go into a fat loss phase. And this is designed in a way to ensure that your metabolism does not tank again. Is there going to be a little bit of a drop? Yes, but we teach you all the ways to buffer to avoid this crazy, crazy decline, you feeling like garbage, making sure cortisol levels stay where we want them to be, and maintaining your great gut health, your energy, your sleep, your digestion, all these things that we achieved in that first healing phase, we want to maintain during fat loss, okay? And then after we go through however many cycles, because some people might need to be in it for 8 weeks and then take a 2 or 4 week break and then come back down again, right? We can't be in a fat loss long term because that's what caused your metabolism to tank in the first place. And then once we get you to where you want to be, we teach you how to maintain your results. Otherwise, none of this even freaking matters. Okay? But you also need to acknowledge that it takes active learning on the client's part and on your part to understand how to A, listen to your body, but also B, know what your body needs and why they feel the way they feel, and how to make the best choices to support their body. So, oh, I'm not hungry this morning. Does that mean I should skip my breakfast? No, I'm not hungry this morning because I didn't sleep super great last night and I've been very stressed. So I know in order to avoid an energy crash and a cravings later in the afternoon, which won't set me up for success, I should have breakfast. So it's learning all of these things because it matters. Okay? Here is what that looks like. And the order of how we teach women to maintain is going to totally depend on the person, but we want to slowly increase the calories in and slowly decrease the calories out while maintaining results, and that the end result ends up in a lifestyle that is realistic for them to actually maintain. They know they can do this. forever. This seems like something they can actually do. They can have the foods they enjoy with X amount of exercise. Everyone will look a little bit different. Okay. So one coming out of this is we can maintain calories and lower exercise, right? Because then you're still seeing the calories out decrease, right? So we're slowly moving that metabolism up, decreasing that stress, or we can increase calories and maintain exercise. Because if we increase calories and reduce activity at the same time, that is a bigger difference in where your metabolism is, and then the total net calories in, calories out, right? And then that increases your risk of weight gain. I personally will always rather maintain activity and increase my calories because I freaking love food. Okay, so I would much rather keep my activity as it is and increase my calories slowly until I'm at like a good, happy where I want to be. And then I can start playing around with like exercise changes and intensity and frequency and all that kind of stuff. But if you do one and then the other, right? So you can alternate if that's what you want to do. But you can choose one or the other, whichever you like or dislike more, right? So, and then we keep slowly just shimmying our way up that way until we get to a comfortable maintenance and what feels good and realistic for you. Okay, I like working out 2 to 3 days a week. Perfect. So now we can just play around with the food side of things, right? Oh, I feel good eating around this kind of calories. Okay, that means that exercise looks like this. And we figure out what that looks like for you. And it takes time, right? This isn't oh, sweet, I lost the weight, now I'm done. No, you can imagine that takes time to kind of shimmy up to maintain those results and figure out what that looks like long term. And then once we get there, now we slowly move away from tracking, right? Because for most women, myself included, I don't track every damn day, nor do I want to. And I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. It is a tool that is there for when I want to use it, which is great. And I'll be using it as I start building more muscle again after baby, because I lost a lot of muscle mass in my upper body. And muscle is important to me. It's important for health, for hormone health, for your thyroid, for your blood sugar control, to look fit and toned. Like there's so many things that muscle is so beneficial for. So I want to spend a significant amount of time post-baby focusing on building muscle mass. So I am going to have to make sure that I'm eating enough food. So I'm going to go back to tracking regularly again every single day because I have a specific goal that I'm trying to have, right? But when I don't have a specific goal, I only track every now and then. So typically we will start with breakfast with women because most women eat a relatively similar breakfast every day, or they'll have a few choices they kind of rotate through. So that's the easiest thing to like not track to start because they have a general good ballpark as to what that looks like. And they just track for the rest of the day. And then over some time, we ease our way off, monitor how they're feeling, slowly start tracking fewer things, right? And see how are you feeling? How's your digestion, your energy, your sleep, your body composition, all those things. And then if we start to see things start to fluctuate, then we just go back to tracking again and figure out what's going on, right? Because now you have the skills. You have the tools and resources that you need that if something kind of feels like it goes sideways, you just go back and reassess, track for a bit, get back on track, and then you're good to go, right? It's not something you have to do all the time, but it's a good thing to look back to, right? And utilize. And again, this is relatively easy for women at this point because they should have been working on learning throughout this entire process. If you do not focus on learning through this process, then you will not keep it off. It's as simple as that. And I'm very blunt with that, but that's what it is. If you are not taking time to learn, you will never reach that goal and you will never maintain it ever. And this is like a tough thing sometimes to navigate with clients because it's like, okay, I'm trying to teach you. I want you to try this. I want you to see how you feel. And there's just a lot of resistance of like, can't you just tell me what to eat? No, because I am not going to be part of the problem where you lose weight and gain it back again. That is not what we do here. Yes, there's a lot of onus on clients to take some effort, to ask the right questions. We're always giving feedback, but you need to communicate and be a part of this as well. We will not just tell you what to eat. If that is a program that you want, there are so many options out there of people who will just give you a meal plan and you can follow blindly. But that is not something we do here. It goes against our morals, our ethics, our values. We want you to learn so that you can be healthy and feel good for the rest of your life because you've learned everything you need to learn. So if you just want a meal plan, we are not your people. And it's as simple as that. And then lastly, I do want to touch, there are still things that you need to do to maintain your physique. You're still going to have to resistance train to support maintaining and building muscle. Otherwise, you're going to lose muscle mass and you're not going to look the way you want to look anymore. So yes, you still have to work out. Drinking water, still important for gut health, for bloating, digestion, brain health, your skin, all the things. Still have to make sure you're drinking enough water. You're still going to have to prioritize 80% of whole foods. You can't expect to be eating mostly whole foods and then all of a sudden have fast food every single day or even every other day and may expect to still look the same because you're going to have inflammation. You're going to have fluid retention. It's going to affect your hormones, all those things. So yes, you still have to prioritize whole foods. You still have to get enough fiber, 20 to 30 grams a day. You still have to have 3 to 5 servings of veggies, which is about 1.5 cups to 2.5 cups a day. Eating enough protein and having it at every single meal. Having carbs at your meals. Paying attention to the order of eating. So to help support your blood sugars. So we're making sure we're having something before we have our carbohydrates. So we're always having some protein or veggie first before having our carb so that we aren't seeing blood sugar spikes and drops leading to energy crashes and cravings and fat storage and negative side effects like inflammation and more cortisol levels and things like that, right? You still have to make sure that you are having breakfast every day, that you're not having coffee on an empty stomach, that you're still going for walks, and that you're still doing the things to help with stress management. You will not maintain results just by going back to what you did before. The work is not done just because you reach your goal. You have to work to maintain it. You want to be the best athlete in the world? Cool. You don't want to race one time and stop training and eating healthy and doing the psychological training, right? If you want to be the best CEO, you keep learning, you keep growing. You have to do the work to maintain that. You can't just build a company to $1 million and then just stop what you were doing expecting it to keep going, right? You need to work to maintain it, just like relationships. You get married because you fell in love and you have great communication. Awesome. You know what you have to do to have a great marriage? You have to keep doing that. Quality time, communicating, not taking each other for granted, spending time together, right? It takes work to maintain where you get to. You can't go back to doing what you were doing that got you to the place where you were unhappy, where you didn't want to be. It still takes work. And does that seem overwhelming that, oh my gosh, I have to heal my hormones, get my metabolism up, then I have to lose the weight, I have to learn all these things in the process, then I have to learn to maintain it, and then I still have to do the workouts and the eating 80% whole foods and getting fiber and veggies and protein and paying attention to my food order and doing stress management? Yeah, it does sound overwhelming, but you're not worried about all of that right now. Right? We need to do this slowly. You have to do this properly. You have to learn what your body actually needs. And doing this slowly over time so it's actually things that you learn and they become habits and things that you can do for the rest of your life and it becomes mindless. You know, tracking at first, very overwhelming. Now, super easy, doesn't take any time at all, right? So it's going to take time for it to become a habit and become almost like second nature. But if you do not take the time to make those habits, you're just going to view it as something that, oh, this is something I have to do right now. And then once I get to my goal, then I'm good. No, that mindset will make it so you don't maintain those results. This is why we spend so much time in that first phase, reverse dieting, with our clients. We have a checklist that they build up to doing those things, and they do it all for 4 weeks at the end before they can go into fat loss. But it's like tackling one thing at a time, right? We get really good at one thing, now we add on the other. And yeah, it takes time. But wouldn't you rather actually do it right and never have to diet again? Or if you see things kind of go sideways, you know exactly what to do or why it happened. Wouldn't that give you some peace of mind? And yes, it sucks because right now you are thinking of that end goal. You want to look better in a swimsuit right now. But wouldn't it be great if you just spent 6 to 12 months doing things the right way and this time next year you feel and look great, right? That you learned why your body is the way it is and what you need to do to support it. That you have control and you really understand it. That's up to you. Are you actually willing to dedicate a year to actually getting to where you want to be and maintaining those results? And for some people, it takes longer than that. We have women that coached with us for a year and a half. They learned all the things they learned to maintain, and now they're doing extra cycles of fat loss on their own because they know how to do it. And they know how to do it and not be in it for too long, and how to maintain the results, give their body the break that it needs, and then dip down again. This isn't a fast journey. If you are looking for a meal plan or a quick fad diet that's going to drop you 30 pounds in a couple months, it's not us. Because we refuse to be part of the problem where you lose weight and gain it back again. Our goal is to teach you about your body so you can learn to do this right and get to a point where you have this freedom, where it doesn't feel like food and hormones and all these things are controlling you because you're back in control again. That's what we want. And then you can pass it on to your kids, your friends, your family. That's the goal. So are you willing to dedicate that time? No one can make that decision but you. So if you are overwhelmed, if you have no idea where to start, or you don't even know maybe if your body is in a spot where it'll respond to going into low calories, or maybe you are losing weight and you are terrified of gaining it back again and messing it up, just book a consultation call. We will assess everything for you. We will give you nutritional guidelines. We will calculate your calories for you. We will give you estimated timelines based on everything that we cover on that call. And we are going to ask you a lot of questions because your body is an accumulation of everything you've been through up until this point. And we do that for free. My only ask is that you actually do the things, because nothing breaks my heart when I'm having the exact same conversation, giving the exact same advice to a woman who had a conversation with me last year this time. And it's happening again. It is. I'm having the same conversations again. It's always around summertime. It's heartbreaking because I know if you would have committed to this a year ago, the conversation we'd be having right now would be a lot different. And, reach out. There's never going to be the perfect time. You may as well get started. It's a long journey. So you may as well get started today, right? Because I know you could be in such a different place this time next year. I love you all. The link for that free call is in the show notes for you. And we are here for you. We will never bring up coaching unless you ask to talk about it. This is just for us to help you so that we don't have to have the same conversations in a year. I love you all. Book that call, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.